What is up? It is Maximus Mma bringing you my full card recap for UFC Fight Night Rafael Fiziev versus Manuel Torres, which took place in Baku, Azerbaijan. The picks this week did not really go my way, so I did want to get that out of the way. I really think that I'm just saving all my special powers for the Conor McGregor return against Max Holloway. I believe we get a weekend off after this card, and then we're right into the big one, so I'll really be looking forward to that. But let's get right into the breakdown here. In the main event, we saw Rafael Fiziev beat Manuel Torres by KO via super sick spinning back kick that, even though Torres did block with his hand, it seemed to knock him off balance and ring his bell a little bit. And then just in the chaos of Rafael Fiziev hunting for the finish as Manuel Torres kind of climbed up against the cage, he landed a big right hook, I believe, that really was the end of it shortly after the referee stepped in. Yeah, I mean, great win for Fiziev. You know, I would have liked to have seen Torres win, kind of as a new guy in the block to get excited about, but feels good for Fiziev to win in Azerbaijan. Fiziev is kind of in an interesting spot now because, I mean, he's only really lost to Gaethje and Hoofy, I guess Gamrot too. So I don't know, man. Give him another guy in the top 15. Yeah, hard to say. Manuel Torres, it sucks, but he's probably going to drop out of the top 15. He'll probably have a right around 16 to 20 though, so I'm sure they'll give him a tough matchup next, but definitely one of those fights that if you want to ever win the belt as Manuel Torres, you kind of had to win this one. It's going to be much more difficult now. And honestly, even though I picked Torres very early on in the fight, I mean, Torres was rushing forward very recklessly with his chin up in the air. It started to make me a little worried, honestly, literally after a minute into the fight. And even though that's not what got him caught, eventually Fiziev did find a strike that Torres just wasn't prepared for, and beat him up, right after, finished him off with punches. So great one for Fiziev in the main event. And in the main event, it definitely delivered. Right before that, though, we had a relatively boring fight where Ruziboev won a decision against Michel Pereira. Yeah, man. Ruziboev gets dropped by Michel Pereira in the first minute. Pretty bad, but then stays an intelligent guard. Takes a little bit of damage in the ground, but nothing too crazy. Ends up actually working to dominant position at the very, very end of the round. And once that occurred, even though it was crazy because Ruziboev just got dropped, it just felt like he was going to win because Michel Pereira slows down so much. Michel Pereira showed that even if he gets him on the ground for basically an entire round, he can't really do anything with it. So, and then Ruziboev just kind of kickboxed his way to a decision. Really just coasted in the second round. Pereira looked like he was starting to conserve some energy for the third. And then about halfway through the third, Michel Pereira shot a takedown. Ruziboev stuffed it. And to me, I thought that was when it was 100% done. Granted, there was a foul and eye poke from Ruziboev directly after that. So gave Michel Pereira a little bit of time to recover, who did put in a decent effort, especially from what we were expecting, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. This fight just kind of confirmed me what we already know. Ruziboev's really not that good. I mean, if he wasn't a one-eyed guy, who, would he even be in the UFC? I mean, I guess he is 17-1, but I think you get what I'm saying. They're giving him a fight like Michel Pereira. I mean, he's 32. They're giving him a washed guy. I guess they're going to jump him into the top 15 now. I mean, I don't know what else you can do with him, so give him a chance after. And again, keep in mind, he only got schooled by MVP, Michael Venom Page, so I'm hating on Ruziboev a little bit, but I don't know. I just feel like a fight where he needs to get the finish, and he just was never close to finding a finish. So, yeah, and got dropped. For Michel Pereira, honestly, I think he should retire, but that's just my take. I mean, he can fight, some other guy in the UFC if the UFC wants to beat him, build his name off of Michel Pereira. If I'm Michel Pereira, bro, I don't want any parts of that, but nah, I mean, maybe he does. So, if I'm Michel Pereira, honestly, as goofy as it might sound, I would almost consider going to PFL and trying to enter the PFL tournament. I might have cooked with that because, bro, the UFC is not, it's just not for you anymore, man. But he might be able to go on a little run in the PFL, so go get you some money, Michelle.
Well, we just saw Matheus Camillo finish Nazim Sadykhov via knockout in the first round very early. I believe like 2 minutes into the fight. And yeah, another early stoppage here for sure. But Sadykhov was hurt bad. One of those fights where, you know, I mean, it didn't last very long. So, again, not too much to talk about. I mean, Sadykhov looked quick on the feet. Was kind of pressing Camillo backwards a little bit, but nothing of real significance from either side was being landed, you know, really feeling each other out. These guys had trained together years before. And yeah, before, you know, we could really get into a real swing of the things, Matheus Camillo counters him coming in, and Sadykhov goes down and covers up, and the ref is quick to jump in. Sadykhov immediately protests a stoppage, but it is what it is. I mean, anyways, so good win for Matheus Camillo as an underdog here, beating the hometown guy and Nazim Sadykhov. Yeah, I mean, everybody is picking Sadykhov. That's crazy. 94%. I mean, I was part of those 94%, but anyways, good win for Camillo, who is starting to make a little bit of a career for himself now. I mean, beating that, you know, the guy who called out Dana White to get on the UFC, and then, you know, losing to Gabe Green's not great, but then you come in and you get 2 wins, especially in a, I guess, hostile environment against Nazim Sadykhov on the road. It's a good win for the 25-year-old, so really cool for Matheus Camillo. Nazim Sadykhov, I guess, back to the drawing board, man. Not a good look, getting KO'd on your home turf in like 2 minutes. So when you're supposed to be the striker and the finisher. Right before that, though, we did have Almabayev basically just school Charles Johnson. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. Charles Johnson really didn't look competitive in this fight. I mean, and that's as a Charles Johnson fan. Almabayev was able to kind of dart in and out on the feet in the early rounds, find kind of some looping hooks around the guard, especially the left hook, which Charles Johnson seems pretty susceptible to, at least recently. And yeah, and then once Almabayev was able to land those hooks on the feet, he started doing incorporate some grappling, and his top control is definitely elite, so Charles Johnson just couldn't get out of it. It was really just that kind of recipe for the entire fight until the third round, where Charles Johnson did have an inverted triangle, but it was one of those subs where, like, you never really thought he was going to get it. He held it for like a minute, he squeezed it really hard, but eventually he let it go, and then shortly after that, Almabayev continued to, you know, beat him up on the ground a little bit, and eventually finds a Suleo stretch. Kind of a weird submission. Sucks to see my boy Charles got like that, but yeah, man, I mean, good win for Almabayev. He definitely bounced back in a big way since losing to Manel Kape in 2025. I mean, Jose Ochoa, Alex Perez, and CJ, so he's definitely going to get a shot up the rankings here pretty soon. And that submission was big for him, because if he didn't get that sub, this fight realistically would have been remembered as a pretty boring fight, right? That's just the nature of the game. We want to see violence. I mean, come on now, we're watching the UFC. But because he got the sub, I definitely think he's going to get a shot up the ranks. So really good win for Almabayev. Charles Johnson, unfortunately, even though in his career he defeated Loner Kavanaugh and Joshua Van and Sumaderzies, who's going to be on a decent run here soon. Looks like his fights at the top are pretty much done. Give him a striker, man. Like, I don't want to see Charles Johnson have to defend 20 takedowns again. I really don't. Yeah, but Charles Johnson's probably done. I mean, I guess he's the eternal gatekeeper of the top 15 in the UFC flyweight division. So, sucks for Charles, but a good win by Almabayev nonetheless. Alright, and then moving up the card, we did have Ikram Aliskerov just defeat Bruno Ferreira via a grappling heavy decision. Now, when I say grappling heavy, I really should give Aliskerov some credit. He was winning the exchanges on the feet as well. And yeah, it's funny because the commentary was talking about some jump knee that Aliskerov was going to throw. And then he did throw that strike. I believe it was about 2 or 3 minutes into the first round. And I thought that after that, he did start to take over. Just the threat of the grappling was too much for Ferreira to ever get anything going on the feet. And Ferreira just a little bit too good with his guard for Aliskerov to find a finish. So it was a decent fight, but a fight that kind of fell over kind of early, if that makes sense, because Ikram just had such a clear path to victory once Ferreira was biting on the grappling feints, and Aliskerov was winning the majority of the striking exchanges, so things got a little tough with Ferreira there. Good win for Aliskerov, though. Realistically, next, I think, which I've heard other people say, so I can't fully take credit for it, but I think it's kind of obvious. Give Aliskerov Bo Nickel. Seems like a good fight. Let's get Bo Nickel. That's a big-time fight. You know, we can build the Russia versus America prospect thing. I really like that. And honestly, I don't know who would win at this point. It'd be very hard to call. For Ferreira, a guy that's kind of fallen on hard times. I mean, he's a decent fighter, but obviously he's not elite. With 2 losses in a row, I think give him a bounce back. You know, give him a guy that he can KO or sub. And yeah, so exactly who's next for Ferreira, honestly, it's hard for me to give a name, but Aliskerov with the good win. Hopefully he gets Bo Nickel next. And then right before that, we did see one of my favorite picks. Man, the picks today have just not been going too great. I mean, some of them have, but some of them just haven't, man. And look, Magomedov in the first round is very good. And the thing that really surprised me about this fight was that McGregor Oleksiejczuk wasn't getting the better of Magomedov on the feet at all. I mean, Magomedov was, you know, kind of moving around on the outside and was kind of tagging Oleksiejczuk coming in a few times and ends up hitting him with a nasty elbow that, you know, starts to, I don't know if it fully dropped Oleksiejczuk, but, you know, it certainly hurt him bad. And then kind of, you know, after a follow-up punch or two / kind of collision, Oleksiejczuk goes down, and man, the way that Magomedov snatched up that submission was nasty. Like, honestly, so even though I got the pick wrong on here, it looks like Oleksiejczuk actually did flip to a favorite right before the fight, which is kind of funny. I don't know, man. Magomedov, he looked really good, though. So, honestly, that made me not too salty about the pick because that submission was really impressive. So, I mean, Magomedov clearly deserved the victory. You know, he looked good on the feet, and again, that submission was really nasty. I mean, he snatched it up so quick. Even the commentators were like, oh, yes, it's over. Like, there's no way he's getting out of that. I mean, it was quick. So, yeah, I don't know, man. McGregor Oleksiejczuk falls back down pretty much into, you know, the unranked world. Magomedov, you know, give him a shot at the top 15 again. See if he has one more run in him. But depending on his matchup, he could be live. But I don't know. We didn't see him outside of the first round again. So kind of the red flag of a boost was not necessarily lifted, but still a really good win for him against a solid opponent that I thought would beat him. So, all right, and then we had Farman Hasanov beat Eric Nolan by unanimous decision. I can only assume it's going to be unanimous. Official results are not uploaded yet. But yeah, it was a fight where in the first round, we saw a lot of heavy grappling pressure from Hasanov, kind of like Timu Hamzat vibes, especially because there weren't a lot of punches thrown either. Like, maybe a little bit, but I don't know, man. I hate this, like, just permanent grappling, bring them to the ground, right? Maybe throw a punch a minute. It's just dumb. Hard to watch, but that's what you get when you get a, you know, OVN to the name, whatever. And I picked Hasanov to win. Then come the second round, he did open up Eric Nolan. I believe that's when he caused the cut. So he started to do a little bit more damage. But then about halfway through the round, man, he looked gassed. He being Hasanov. I mean, he's stumbling away from Nolan. Like, honestly, it looked like Nolan was going to start to come on strong and potentially be able to finish the fight, you know, via TKO due to exhaustion. But Hasanov ended up getting on top, I believe, with like a minute 30 left in the round. and that really let him recover. He was able to just kind of control position, rest, get back to the stool, and he came out for the third round and employed some more grappling. So it was a decent win for Hasanov. It started off kind of lame, in my opinion, but yeah, he picked it up as the fight went on. Both guys showed decent heart, but I don't know. Again, just typical, like, put these guys in the Apex or some Abu Dhabi card. I don't know. So, yeah. Right before that, though, we did have a really good prediction by me, granted not too hot of a take, with Yakhyaev KOing Julius Walker. Yes, you're reading that right, within 8 seconds. Look, I said Julius Walker was an absolute victim on the feet, all right? And that is what he was. I mean, Yakhyaev must have been, he must have just known exactly what I was thinking, because he just shows no respect. 3-4 seconds into the fight, just throws an overhand right, and just KOs Julius Walker, whose hands are down here. And it was it was pretty funny, honestly, because I mean it was one of the fastest knockouts in UFC history. Julius Walker didn't even know what was going on after the fight got stopped. He looked confused. Obviously, he was concussed. Not to make fun of that, but it was just funny how I was describing in my prediction video that Julius Walker looks like a victim on the feet, and then he gets made into a Yakhyaev victim in under 10 seconds. Kind of funny. Made me laugh a little bit. And yeah, good win for Yakhyaev. Definitely a good prospect. He's a light heavyweight, which is a thin division. Obviously got Baranowski there too. Don't pair them up together, but give him a little jump up. It is hard to say, like, what we really learned about Yakhyaev. Obviously a 8-second KO, right? He didn't have to dig deep. He didn't really have to show any technique either. Very similar to the Baranowski Austin Lane KO in the sense that, they both KO'd some bums, but we don't really know how good they are. So give them a jump up in the rankings, and let's see what these guys can do, because it does look like the future of light heavyweight has potential to look pretty good here, with those two kind of leading the charge. So definitely a good win for Yakhyaev. All right, and then up next we had Conor Ofli, who got a first-round submission over Javier Reyes. Yeah, Javier Reyes closing it this big of a favorite is crazy, because he just is not very skilled. But yeah, just a fight that really not too much to say. Just a good finish for Ofli on the ground. He dropped Reyes and then was able to find the arm triangle, within 30 seconds to 40 seconds after. Good win for Conor Ofli. Honestly, after I made the Javier Reyes pick, I did start to think, man, why does this just seem like Conor Ofli might actually look like an MMA fighter in this fight? But whatever, we'll ride with it. Picks have not been going great so far, but it's alright, we keep moving. Then right after that, we had Nursultan Ruziboev, who, as expected, did defeat Andrei Pulyaev. Look, Pulyaev just looked absolutely terrible on the ground. I mean, Ruziboev just got back control, picked him up, took him down, just kind of played, from the back, pause for a bit, but just played in the back, just kind of throwing pepper and shots, just really trying to get Pulyaev to react, and it worked, because after Ruziboev threw a couple just, short little right hooks from the back position, hand kind of, around the neck area, Pulyaev decided it was a good idea to, instead of trying to get out of the position, which is very hard if you have a body lock, but he just starts going like this. He's punching like this, which then eventually gave Ruziboev the angle he needed to get a nice neck crank that was turned into a rear naked choke, or at least that's what they put it here. But he kind of had Pulaev's neck kind of cockeyed, and then it did straighten out, and you saw Pulaev's eyes. Referee checked. He was still there, but the second the referee checked, you saw his eyes just go. Pulyaev was out cold. Really good win for Ruziboev, who in hindsight, honestly, maybe should have been a parlay piece for lock of the week. Just because I said in my breakdown, I've been a Ruziboev believer for a while. And yeah, he looked good against Pulyaev, who, was getting some respect here simply because of the, going to decision with Oteba Gautier. So pretty impressive from Ruziboev to finish him so early, especially when Gautier and CLD couldn't. So really a good look for Ruziboev, who I believe just had his 50th fight. That's crazy, or something like that. Yeah, actually a little less. Looks like that would be 48. But still, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of freaking fights, man. So, yeah, for Ruziboev, moving up the ranks, man. It's time. He's 32. He'll be 33 by the next time he fights. Give him somebody in the top 20 so he can really work towards something. We want to see if Ruziboev can be anything in this division, so. I actually did finish, yeah, we had Denis Donchenko, who beat Theodore Berggren by KO. Look, everybody was calling this KO. Didn't get it done in the first round, but he did get it done in the second. And yeah, Berggren looked all right. Honestly, again, he survived longer than some people would have thought, but he just didn't have any consequence to his punches for Donchenko. So Donchenko's eventually probably going to walk a guy like that down. I mean, again, we just saw him not be able to do that to Alex Moreno, who also has no consequence, but eventually he landed a nice head kick after going to the body and legs repeatedly, and then was able to get the stoppage. Berggren was never out, but, I think he's a prospect, and, they want to get the highlight for Donchenko. I don't think it was a bad stoppage. I'm just saying I think it was the right stoppage. Berggren, I think, could have been given more of a leash, but because of the nature of both these guys being young in their career, I think that I think it was a good stoppage because, live to fight another day. For Denis Donchenko, keep on giving him decent fights. I mean, he's only basically 25, so yeah, climb up the ranks a little bit, but not too fast. Give him a little bit of time. And then with Berggren, give him some fight on some European card against some debuter. Okay, we did see the lock of the week fall on Almakhan. Now look, I literally thought that Almakhan won with 100% confidence at the end of the third round. So kind of a robbery in my opinion. It was close, but essentially the story of the fight was in the first round, Bekzat Almakhan dropped G. Matsumoto. I thought he clearly won the round. One judge didn't even give him the round. So, already weird, right? You have an early stoppage in the first fight, and the judges in the second fight just were all over the place. I mean, I believe that we saw, again, one judge didn't give Almakhan the first round, but then he's the same judge that also was the only judge that gave Almakhan the third round to win. I thought Almakhan won the first and the third round. First round he wins because of the knockdown. Second round he lost. I thought that Matsumoto was just looking like he was wearing on Almakhan a little bit. And then Bekzat came out in the third round and he was landing pretty good on the feet. I thought he was kind of ahead. And then he kind of called a crafty, kind of fake-looking nut shot, I think, just to get a little bit more energy to, finish out the fight. And he just seemed like he was a step ahead. And for the first time in the fight, I mean, Matsumoto was starting to walk backwards a little bit. It was a close round, but like I said, at the end of the third round, I was like, all right, Bekzat Almakhan, he won. He was definitely landing a more damaging strikes. I mean, Matsumoto had a humongous cut over his eye. I mean, humongous cut. And he got dropped in the first round. I don't know. One of those where for pick of the week, lock of the week, it's just disappointing because, as the books write it up, it's a loss. In my opinion, I do see it as a win, but I mean, you can't play that game, of course. Just kind of unfortunate. Apparently, we have random, Baku fast food workers judging tonight, so it's gonna be an interesting card. I can tell with the decisions already. Literally the first two fights, we had a weird ref and already some judging that at least most of X was agreeing that Almakhan won. So, I don't know. In the first fight of UFC Baku, we saw Tahir Abdullayev get a third round finish over Jefferson Nascimento. Certainly not the best way to start off the card. Don't let the KO confuse you. Yeah, man, Jefferson Nascimento just didn't want to fight. It was honestly just really weird. I mean, he was just running around for 2 rounds until at the very end of the second round, we're talking like the last 10, 15 seconds, Tahir kind of made him fight. And then in the third round, he ends up landing a trip / takedown and ends up grounding, pounding Jefferson Nascimento. Kind of like a weak stoppage. But I don't hate the stoppage because Nascimento deserved to get a knockout loss for that kind of fight. I mean, he didn't want to engage at all. So really outside of that, not too much to say. Put Tahir Abdullayev on some Abu Dhabi card or an Apex card, and Jefferson Nascimento either just cut him already or put him in the Apex. Anyways, it's a terrible fight, mostly because Nascimento just didn't want to fight.